I'm happy to share with you another episode of The Lighthouse-Talks with our India experts. Do feel free to share your comments and please hit the like button. Stay tuned and stay connected.
Hello and welcome to Rödl and Partner presents The Lighthouse Talk with our India experts. In our today's session, our expert will provide intriguing insights on the topic valuation advisory. To many viewers, this might be a new subject or maybe never heard of. To open the window of opportunity and to elaborate, I would like to invite Mr. Hemant Patel, who is a senior associate with Rödl and Partner. Hemant is a chartered accountant and CFA charter holder with over 11 years of experience in advisory and consulting. He has managed and closed multiple buy-side and sell-side M&A. His domain expertise pertains to the areas of financial due diligence and valuation advisory for the cross-border and domestic M&A transactions. Welcome, Hemant.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Anushri. It's good to be on board today. Yes.
Thank you. So to begin with, can you tell us how do you perceive these series?
Anushri, I think this is a very interesting concept. I mean, especially, if you think about it, the industries globally have gone through a phase of uncertainty over the last 2 years or so. And now businesses are finally seeing some glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. So timing could not be better, I would say. Yeah. And now also considering the fact that we are going to be covering a wide array of topics in this series, I do hope that we are able to reach out and connect to industry clients and partners, and also perhaps provide some guidance on navigating through the business waters of India.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Hemant. Last 2 years have been very difficult and challenging for all the industries, probably. So let's begin our today's session. And my first question to you is, if you could explain to our viewers what valuation advisory is, and also please take us through the occasions where a client would possibly need valuation advisory.
Of course, Anushri. I mean, it would be quite unrealistic to, talk about all the possible scenarios where valuation advisory is applicable. But what we can do is, we can try to simplify things, and we'll try to talk about two routine groups of scenarios where valuation advisory is usually applicable. Now, one would be the scenarios where valuation is required by by regulations. So this would be the compliance related valuations, and second would be the valuations pertaining to M&A advisory.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about compliance valuations, these are the instances where companies are required to or mandated to obtain valuation for a particular transaction, and then this is to comply with various applicable statutes like Income Tax Act or a Foreign Exchange Management Act or Companies Act or transfer pricing rules. I mean, the list goes on, right? And on the other hand, the valuations which are done for transaction advisory. Now, these are not mandated as such, but they have far more significance to a client who's part of a transaction, and because then it would affect his value of actual acquisition of a company. So that would be the two groups we can say for a very generic overview.
Okay.
But actually, the overall numerous occasions would entail a valuation advisory.
Okay, I think that's a lot of information jam-packed in introduction itself. So, Hemant, we'll go one by one. Okay. To start with, can you please tell our viewers about compliance valuation first?
Of course, Anushri. I mean, that's a good idea. I mean, let's take one aspect at a time.
Yes.
So now, compliance valuations would be the valuations which are, where the companies are mandated by certain regulations, and now each regulation has mandated a valuation to serve a specific objective behind it. Let's take an example. In case a share is transferred between two parties. Now, in this case, there would be capital gains. That's very much a likelihood. Now, the Income Tax Act would want to tax this capital gain, but how will it do that? So therefore, they mandate that, when you do the transaction of an unlisted share, you undertake the valuation, and that is how the Income Tax Act would be able to ascertain the quantum and whether the applicability of capital gain tax is to be paid by the transacting parties or not. Now, let's take another example: Foreign Exchange Management Act, or FEMA for short. Now, FEMA regulates all the cross-border capital transactions. Now, this is particularly relevant for our clients because most of our clients have a parent company in Germany, and money would obviously flow through India for starting their business operation or even expanding their business operations. So at any point of time when the money crosses the borders and comes into India, it has to be done at or above fair value. And that's how the FEMA mandates that a valuation has to be undertaken while there is a transfer or even issue of fresh equity where parties outside India.
Okay, so in that case, do you think there might be companies who may simply miss on a particular compliance valuation, in the real world scenario?
Yes, well, honestly, I would say that's a likelihood. I mean, in their normal course of business operations, and at certain occasions, companies might miss out a valuation, the compliance or two, right? And what happens afterwards is they end up doing a rather more expensive post-event rectification compliance rather than being compliant in the first place. I'm going to be blunt here and say that this does not happen in case of our clients. Yeah. So when we are providing consulting on any particular occasion, we take into account all the possible regulations that would be applicable, and we give a comprehensive solution that is compliant with all the possible regulations. Right. Now, we are able to do this because of our multifaceted team culture that we have. So we have, unlike most of the well-known consulting firms, we have legal, accounting, tax, indirect tax, international taxation, transfer pricing, even company secretaries and transaction advisory, all working under one roof. And all these teams are collaborating on any particular assignment. So that is the strength we have, and that is our main source of why we are able to provide a very comprehensive solution to any consulting problem.
Right. That's great, Hemant. You also mentioned about some methodologies that are used for valuation. So could you tell our viewers what are these methodologies?
So if we try to list down all the compliance valuations and their respective methodology, again that would be a very long list. So what we'll stick to our original two examples, right? So we have a case where the Income Tax Act, applicability of Income Tax Act for transfer of shares. And then we have one example of FEMA applicability on issue of shares for a person outside India. Now, Income Tax Act prescribes a specific methodology which closely resembles, but is not exactly, a reinstated net asset value method. And in case of FEMA, now FEMA is a bit open-ended. So FEMA requires you to adopt a methodology which is internationally accepted, recognized valuation methodology, best applicable in that particular case. So in this case, the valuer would be required to exercise his judgment in assessing what is the most suitable method which is applicable. So he may apply a discounted cash flow method, or a net asset value method, or a trading multiples method, just to name the most common methodologies which are applicable. Now, so if you see, the methodology which is applicable for compliance valuation not only differs from regulation to regulation, but also from case to case basis. Right? So it's a wide range.
All right, Hemant, I think that was quite informative. So dear viewers, Hemant has provided such useful insights on compliance related valuation requirements in India. We end our session today with a note that we will continue our discussion on valuation with focus on transaction advisory in part 2 of this Lighthouse episode. In the meanwhile, you can contact Hemant for any queries on this topic. His contact details are given in the bio of this video. We will see you in the next episode of Rödl and Partner presents The Lighthouse Talks with our India experts. Until then, stay safe and grow your business.